Hi, it's Dennis Daly. During the early 1950s, listeners to CBS Radio were treated to nearly 120 episodes of one of the best detective shows of all time. So I'm focusing in on the adventures of Philip Marlowe. Something very interesting had happened to network radio by the time 1948 rolled around and CBS decided to put the Raymond Chandler Adventures of Philip Marlowe on the air, starring Gerald Moore, a show that would become the most popular show of its kind in network radio. That thing that happened was magnetic recording tape and a new era in the sound of sound effects. As we cross over 1949, 50, 51, some of the best shows ever done in radio came from that era, but sadly, it was at a time when radio was dying. Now the first of two really great episodes starring Gerald Moore of The Adventures of Philip Marlowe.
Get this and get it straight. Crime is a sucker's road, and those who travel it wind up in the gutter, the prison, or the grave. This started with a man on trial for his life and an A1 citizen eager to testify. But there it was interrupted. And it wasn't until I found a corpse in a bubbling bath, gunplay in the woods, and lots of blackmail that the real eager witness had a chance to talk.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of mystery, comes his most famous character and crime's most deadly enemy, as we present The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. Now, with Gerald Moore, starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Eager Witness.
Division 88 of the Superior Court of the State of California and for the County of Los Angeles is now in session. The Honorable Albert Winston, judge presiding. Everybody rise.
The case of the people versus the oft-arrested, never convicted, smooth Earl Jernigan, sometimes bookie, charged in the first degree with a month-old killing of a kindly, gray-haired horse trainer named Kurt Harper, who had once almost been my client. It was the afternoon of the fourth day of the trial, and the prosecutor for the state had already built an almost airtight case against the alleged gambler when my turn finally came.
To further substantiate the state's claim that Earl Jernigan did willfully and with malice aforethought take the life of the deceased Kurt Harper. Will Mr. Philip Marlowe take the stand?
Raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
State your name and occupation.
Philip Marlowe, private detective.
Take a stand.
Mr. Marlowe, on the morning of the 30th day of July last, the day on which the late Kurt Harper was murdered, were you hired as a private detective by the said Mr. Harper?
I was.
And at that time, Mr. Marlowe, did Mr. Harper state his reason for hiring you?
He did. He wanted me to act as his personal bodyguard on the following day when he planned to drive to San Francisco.
Did he say why he needed a personal bodyguard?
He did. He told me he was afraid for his life, that he refused the gambler's demand that he drug a certain racehorse a week earlier, that gambler had threatened to kill him.
I see. Now, Mr. Marlowe, did Mr. Harper name that gambler?
Yes, he did.
Who was it?
Earl Jernigan.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Counsel for the defense?
Counsel for the defense waives cross-examination, Your Honor.
The witness is excused.
Didn't make sense. No cross-examination. Because from the opening adjective, the counsel for the defense, a dapper item named Calder, who always appeared in French cuffs, gray gabardine, and a cocky, uninviting smile, had raved, ranted, and practically spit at each witness the state had presented. So the courtroom was left with a tingling impression that Earl Jernigan's attorney had something of a surprise waiting up his legal sleeve. Later, when Calder was on his feet and addressing the jury, that something started out fast.
Now that the state has taken the trouble to offer so much circumstantial evidence, so much hearsay, rumor, conjecture, now will I smash all of that with the testimony of one man. One man known to all of you as an outstanding citizen of this city. A prominent real estate broker. An unimpeachable witness eager to testify. Mr. Leonard Gaines.
It worked. Landed in each and every lap like a live grenade and exploded all the way around at once. And when the eminent Mr. Gaines, gray at the temples, maybe 45, a neat and expensive midnight blue flannel with giant stickpin to match, took the stand. And in his own meeting of the board tone of voice, told the court that Earl Jernigan had spent the entire day and night of July 30th last with him at his Malibu Beach home.
No.
The prosecuting attorney's jaw dropped to his chest and he stared dumb.
Day or night did Mr. Jernigan ever leave my home. And as for the hour of the murder, 8 o'clock in the evening, we were having dinner. After that, we played gin rummy until midnight.
Are you sure of that, Mr. Gaines? The hour of your dinner, I mean.
I am positive, Mr. Calder.
No, you can't be. You're lying.
Order, Miss Harper. Order in the court, please.
No, I won't be quiet. I won't anymore.
Miss Harper. Quiet. Order. This court is adjourned until tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.
Another scotch and soda, mister?
Yeah, I guess so. Oh, wait a minute, baby. I think I'm going to have company.
Mr. Marlowe, can I talk to you for a minute? I'm
Gail Harper, yeah, I know. What I don't know is why you're not doing 30 days on a rock pile for that rumpus you just kicked up in court. Would you like a soft drink?
No, thanks.
All right, just one, baby.
Check. The judge said he understood and left me off with a short lecture, which was what I had counted on.
Oh. You mean all that fireworks in there was planned, not just spontaneous combustion?
That's right. I had to have time. Look, Mr. Marlowe, will you work for me?
Oh, well, now look,
will
baby.
Will you help me prove that Mr. Leonard Gaines is a liar and that Earl Jernigan did kill my father?
Now, take it easy, Gail. It's a big mouthful, you know.
Mr. Marlowe, listen, please. There isn't much time. We got to prove this tonight or never. By noon tomorrow with the outside, the case will go to the jury.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
Take over where I left off. But first, let's get out of here.
All right. And never mind that drink, miss. Where do we start, honey?
With Leonard Gaines' ex-wife, Debbie Jansen. Here's a snapshot of her. They were divorced about 6 months ago, Mr. Marlowe, and she wasn't very happy about it.
No, huh? Made you figure she was your in?
Yes, and I was right. Mr. Marlowe, it took eavesdropping, bribery, second-story work, but I found out plenty.
I'll bet you did. Like what? Oh, hold it, Gail. Light's red.
Like the fact that Debbie and a guy called Eugene Mowry are putting a bite on Gaines for $20,000. Blackmail, Mr. Marlowe, with the payoff scheduled to be made sometime tonight. Right now, she's staying at the Sun and Sulphur Springs Lodge out in the valley. Gaines used to go there once in a while for his arthritis. And the why of the whole business is a letter Gaines once wrote to his ex-wife.
No fooling.
Uh-huh.
Well, tell me, what's that to do with Jernigan's trial and Gaines being Oh, it's green now.
I think there's a connection because yesterday I overheard Debbie tell this Mowry something about Gaines' scheduled appearance at the trial today and... Oh, Mr. Marlowe!
Hey! Those jerk California drivers.
The man behind the wheel.
What about him?
The thin-faced, blonde hair. I've seen him before. I know he was trying to hit one of us.
Oh, fine. Well, that'll keep things from getting dull, won't it?
Then you're gonna help me.
Well, now, look, who could resist you, baby? Okay, tonight I check in at the lodge at Sunland Sulphur Springs. Come on, let's get out of here.
Well, let's see. Can let you have most any one of the cottages. Half of them are empty. Things kind of slow this time of year.
How slow can you get?
You'd be surprised. How's about Casa Francisco de Leon?
Casa Francisco, hmm? Yeah, that'll be fine, Mr. Sharp.
All righty, sir. Now, if you'll just sign the register here, I'll get your key. But,
as I signed my name, I checked the guest list quickly. And the next second found what I wanted. Deborah Jensen. And next to that, and in a different hand, her cottage for the night. Casa Rolando de... Barandido. That's close enough. Well, anyway, it was all I needed. I took the key from Mr. Sharp, a misnomer if ever you heard one, learned the location of my quarters, paid him in advance, and left. Outside, I turned to my right, past a large open bath that smelled like rotten eggs and talked to itself like a junior Vesuvius, as more warm sulfur waters, equally unpleasant to smell, bubbled from a pipe in the center. Beyond that was the first cottage, another casa I couldn't pronounce, and it stayed like that all the way down the line until I reached the second one that showed light. It was the casa known as Rolando de Barandido. And when I moved closer and around to a window that was screen only, I knew that my client had done her eavesdropping well, because in the center of the room and putting on her coat was the ex-wife named Debbie, and standing nearby and holding on tight to the cigarette in his hand like it was support was what had to be the boyfriend, Eugene Mowry.
You're sure that Gaines will go through with this all right?
For the 100th time, Eugene, yes, I'm positive. Can't you understand? He has to. Besides, $20,000 won't break him. It won't more than bend him a bit. Now stop worrying.
But I can't. Debbie, why must you go alone? Now, why can't I go with you?
Eugene, please, we've been over that. I told Leonard that I'd meet him in town at the Beverly Crest Hotel at 10 and alone. He agreed to also be alone. Except for the money.
Debbie, you do handle things well. Come here, darling. The kiss be a brilliant.
Oh, please, Eugene, there isn't time.
Oh, what's the matter? Are my kisses losing their flavor at this point?
Don't be a fool. Look, it's late, Eugene. It's after 9 already. I've got to hurry. Now, go on. Go on, be a good boy and leave now. We shouldn't even be seen together tonight.
Well, why not, Debbie?
It's not smart. Here. Meet me at the tulip room, darling, at 11 as we planned. Then, Eugene, we'll have time and reason to relax. $20,000 worth of reason.
As Mowry oozed toward the door, I slid away from the cottage and into the shadow of a clump of trees nearby. Stayed there as he walked out of sight down the road that led back to the parking space. Then a few minutes later, when Debbie clicked off the light and left, I moved out of hiding and started slowly after her at a safe distance. Until from someplace in the night, an ugly, snub-nosed automatic that belonged to someone blonde and thin-faced as a near automobile accident stopped me cold.
Where you going, Jack?
For air. I love to walk in the country at night, okay?
I wouldn't know, Jack. I'm a city boy myself, but as long as that's what you want, it's Jake with me. As long as it's where it's good and dark. Now, go on. That way. Move. Jack, that's far enough. Hold it. Turn around and face me.
Why, so I can watch you pull the trigger?
Never mind why, just turn.
Okay, turn it is.
That's better. Now, one step closer.
One step closer.
Hey, what's that?
A pheasant, my friend, taking wing. Now, before I beat you into little pieces, let's have it. Who are you? Who do you work for, and what do you want with me? Come on, gunman, talk.
Okay, no more. My name's Langley. Work for Earl Jernigan.
No?
Yeah, I've been watching you ever since the trial started. Jernigan didn't want you moving in, huh?
Which is why you tried to pick me off with a car when I was with Gail Harper this afternoon, huh? Come on!
Yeah, that's why. Now, what are you going to do with me?
For the time being, Buster, leave you as is. Flat on your back, because I've still got to catch up with a lady before she reads a letter! City boy.
In just a moment, the second act of Philip Marlowe. But first, because of the sharp rise in America's birth rate during the war, we face a very serious educational crisis. Many communities will find that their schools lack sufficient teachers, classrooms, and facilities. Citizens must get together and work for better schools, more teachers. If we want all of our children to have a chance for a good education, we must take action now. Now, with our star, Gerald Moore, we return to the second act of Philip Marlowe and tonight's story, The Eager Witness.
It was strictly hit and run. I piled Langley into the manzanita and didn't even wait to see him bounce. Instead, I took off through a gully that was a shortcut to my car, because I knew that Jernigan's watchdog had nothing to offer compared with the hot-headed Debbie Jensen, who at the moment, no doubt, was well on her way to the Beverly Crest Hotel and a blackmail rendezvous that was a cinch to wind up in the final destruction of the letter. That was my theory, but I dropped it like a hot rock just as I crossed the path to the sulfur pool.
Mr. Marlowe! Somebody screamed! He's there by the spring! gosh. Oh, my gosh. Sure had to happen to me.
It was nothing but sulfur fumes and the thick gurgle of the springs until Sharp played his flashlight over the pool. Then we saw her.
Oh, my gosh.
And the water that was turning red from blood oozing around the knife in her back.
Look. It's Miss Jansen.
Come on, Pop, give me a hand. Let's get her out of there.
Yeah,
Come on. Take it easy now. Take it easy. That's it. Debbie.
I never should have tried it.
Tried what? Who was it, Debbie? Who did this?
He got the letter.
Who got the letter, Debbie? Debbie.
Marlowe, did she pass out?
For good, Maynard. She's dead.
She seemed to be mumbling something about a letter. Did you get what it was?
Yeah, only part of it. The killer apparently took the letter away from her. Believe me, that's bad.
Letter? Oh, what's a letter?
Wait a minute. Oh, it's probably that pheasant again.
Letters? What are you talking about,
Oh,
son?
I guess I'm just getting jumpy. Hey, there is somebody. Come on, Pop.
Sounds like he's over there, Marlowe.
Yeah, I can hear him.
Oh, no, that ain't gonna do you any good, son. Not in that brush, it ain't. And what's more, I wouldn't go any further if I was you.
But Pop, all he needs is 10 seconds and he can destroy that letter for good.
Well, just the same, there's 1,000,001 places a killer can hide in there and lay for you, son.
Yeah, Pop, well, it's the moment it's a stalemate. I'd sure love to find out who that snake in the bush is.
You know, I've run a peaceful place up until it's getting to be like one of them there movies. Only thing left out is a posse.
Yeah, you're so right. Murders in the night, lost letters. It's corny enough without a posse.
Yeah, and might dangerous, too.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Are you ready to...
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'll lead you back to the office. My Jasper, I don't understand this one bit. Miss Jansen is stabbed to death over that letter, and in her dying... Huh? What is it?
Shh. Up ahead there. Somebody duck behind that big tree. Keep the chatter going, Maynard. Walk on up the path. Don't let him know we spotted him. Go on, talk.
Well, okay, sure. I was saying I don't understand. Well, our place here is generally as quiet as a tomb.
As the old man grimly ad-libbed his way up the path, I followed a few feet behind. When he got even with the tree, I turned suddenly, took 3 fast steps, and grabbed her. Come here, you.
Hang on to him. Hang on to him.
Well. Mr. Leonard Gaines, the unimpeachable citizen himself. Stand still, Gaines.
A gun. What's the idea, Marlowe?
Try running and it'll come to you. I suppose you've got a legitimate reason for being here all thought up?
I'm here because I have got a touch of arthritis. I need a treatment and a night's rest.
Arthritis isn't all you're going to have if I find what I think I'm going to find in your pockets. Empty them, Buster.
I
said empty them.
All right, I'll empty them.
That's better.
Sharp, you're a witness, and I demand that you...
Now, just a minute, Mr. Gaines. You're in a pretty bad spot to demand anything.
There's our baby. There's the letter we've been looking for. Pick it up, Gaines. Pick it up and read it.
Now see here, Marlowe.
See there, Gaines. Read it while you're able to.
Yeah. My dear Debbie, if I didn't know you so well, I'd resent your stupid accusations. Now, look, Mark.
Read it.
We've already made our property settlement, as you're well aware, and you'll be a long time finding a court that says otherwise. Now you know where you can go, so why not get started as ever, Leonard?
Oh, fine. That's about as incriminating as a lecture on the family meat bill. Sharp, whose jurisdiction are we under here?
County Sheriff's Office.
All right, call him. Also, call your man out on the highway and have him lock that main gate.
Main gate?
Yeah.
Say, now, that's a good idea. I'll do it right now.
Now, wait a minute. Have you got a gun?
Yep, got a rifle. Been in the family for years.
Can you use it?
Well, yeah, I reckon I can. Well, where are you going?
Out to round up Langley. He'll be pushing hard to give his boss a star witness here a big helping hand. I want to be in shape to push back. And remember, Pop, keep your eye on Gaines and not on the phone when you make those calls. I'll see you. The second time that night, I started down the hill and toward the car lot, keeping in the shadows and moving slowly this time. Because it was odds on that Langley had taken everything in. And I knew that he'd try to part my hair with a gun barrel and pull Leonard Gaines out of the jam he was in the very first chance he had. So I stayed off the paths long enough to have both socks full of burrs when it happened. But not what I expected. It was the Sharp family blunderbuss that had exploded with a blast like a small howitzer. So also for the second time, I turned and ran back up the hill, this time to the office. I got there just as Maynard, climbing hand over hand up his smoking rifle barrel, made it to his feet. Maynard, what happened? Where's Gaines?
Well, I don't know. He got away, I guess.
Well, the shot, what about that?
It went up there, through the roof.
Oh, fine.
Well, gosh, I didn't suspect a thing. He just said he wanted to smoke.
But he didn't happen to have a match, I know. So you hung your rifle over your arm, stuck both hands in your pockets to find one for him, and that's when he took you.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. But how'd you know?
Never mind, Pop.
Well, I made a grab for him, though. Ripped his coat about halfway off.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, but I'm sure sorry he got away, Mark.
All right, don't worry about it, will you? Can't get far with the gate locked.
Well, I got bad news there, too. Oh, the gate's locked, all right. But there's a back road.
There's a back what?
Back road.
Road, yeah, well,
It ain't much. It's rough and rocky, but it's passable. And anybody's been up here as often as Mr. Gaines has sure to know about it.
Oh, great. Look, Pop, can't you understand that there was a murder committed here tonight and we had the murderer? No buts! Fell for the oldest gag in the world.
But
I was a sucker to turn him over to you. And will you stop waving that envelope?
I just think you ought to see this.
All right, what is it? Oh, where'd you get all that loot?
Gaines dropped it when I ripped his coat.
20 grand, it says here on the wrapper. Something else written here, too. Casa Rolando de Bandido at 10. Casa... Pop, that's it. That's the answer. Come on, we got to get down that back road in a hurry. Sharp at the wheel of the pickup truck, we bounced over the pair of sometimes parallel ruts studded with stones the size of bowling balls. It was called a back road. For the better part of 2 miles before he cut lights and motor and whispered that if Gaines was going to get stuck at all, it was sure to happen in a dry wash just around the next bend. I told him to wait and went ahead on foot. He was right. Gaines was stuck in more ways than one. His car was up to its hubcaps in sand and his wallet up to its stamp compartment in blackmail, conducted by his ex-wife's murderer with the same lever she'd had, the letter. It was Eugene Maury, and clenched in his hand was a tattered white envelope, nothing more.
I'll make it easy for you.
I held my .38 in close to my side and edged up behind him.
20,000.
Now, Maury, I don't have that much.
You lie. You're going to pay her that. I don't know. I know because we worked the deal out together. Only she got greedy. Tried to double-cross me and pull it alone.
So you killed her?
Yes, I didn't intend to, but when I found out that she tricked me, I was furious. The first thing that I knew, I'd stabbed her. Well, that's enough of that. Just give me the money. You've nothing to worry about.
Now, listen, Maury, I tell you...
You listen, Gabe. You're in no position to bargain. It's better than having your $200,000 gambling debt exposed and your reputation ruined, isn't it? Or facing the trigger man, Langley, if you refuse to alibi for Jernigan, isn't it? Or bucking a perjury charge if you do alibi? Oh, no. You got yourself in a corner again, so pay off. It's only 20 grand.
But I tell you, Maury, I don't have it.
You're lying again.
No, he isn't. Don't move, either one of you. Leave your hands where they are. I got the 20 grand right here, and it's pretty well earmarked as blackmail payment already. But just to round things out, Maury, I'll take that envelope you've got there.
This? Well, what do you want this for?
Funny man. Because it's no doubt postmarked with an hour, a date, and a location, which together with Brother Gaines' own handwriting places him out of town on July 30th, a time he swears he was at his Malibu home all day with Jernigan. Right, Gaines?
Smart boy, aren't you, Marlowe?
You still got a chance, Gaines. You'd better gamble with me. You've got nothing to lose now.
I'm with you.
Stand still, Buster, or so help me out.
Now, Gaines, go!
Oh, my leg!
Were you thinking of going someplace, Mr. Gaines?
No, I'm not going anyplace, Mr. Marlowe.
Well, Gail, the big show's about to start. Court will be in session in a few minutes.
I know. And different from yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, you did a swell job, Mr. Marlowe. Gee, I don't know how to thank you.
Save it, baby. If that scale Lady Justice holds in her hands is in better balance today, it was your hunch and old Maynard's blunderbuss did as much to put it there as my running around through the brush at Sulphur Springs.
But all I knew was that Gaines was lying. I didn't know it was as complicated as it was.
Now, that's because Debbie Jansen was twice as treacherous as we figured.
I still don't understand. How did you know that Eugene Maury had killed Debbie?
Well, you see, baby, I overheard her tell Maury that she was going to meet Gaines in the Beverly Crest Hotel at 10 for the payoff.
Uh-huh.
But I figured that was a lie strictly for Maury's benefit when Pop gave me the packet of money Gaines had dropped. It had that complicated name of a cabin and the time of the appointment, which was also 10 written on it. So I knew the real meeting was scheduled to take place out there. See?
Oh, I see. And she was going to send Maury off to the Beverly Crest while she collected the money at Sulphur Springs and then beat it alone.
That's it, honey. You see, if her cabin had been named something simple like Number 4, then Gaines could have remembered it. Instead of that Casa Robino del Bangadoro, or whatever it was, he had to write down, you see? Well, then things might have been different.
Ah, you'd have found a way. After all, you figured out it was the postmark that was important.
Only after I've been slapped in the face by a perfectly harmless letter with no envelope. Had to be the postmark. What else?
Oh, they're starting.
Yeah.
Good luck, Mr. Marlowe. Give him the works.
Don't worry, baby. I'm the eager witness today. We're going to knock them dead. Literally. They got it coming. When the court finally settled down to work and the prosecutor took over.
Will Philip Marlowe take the stand, please?
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, bringing you Raymond Chandler's most famous character and crime's most deadly enemy, star Gerald Moore, and are produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Script is by Mel Donnelly, Robert Mitchell, and Gene Levitt. Featured in the cast were Joy Terry, John Daner, Michael Ann Barrett, Junius Matthews, Ben Wright, Lou Krugman, Larry Dobkin, and Bud Whittam. The special music is by Richard O'Runt. This is CBS, where Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts are heard Mondays, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
I don't know about you, but I love to listen to the credits at the end of old-time radio shows. And you know, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe had some really familiar voices. John Daner, you heard, and also Larry Dobkin. And Junius Matthews, who always played that kind of grizzled old guy who seemed to show up just about everywhere. We're learning more about the adventures of Philip Marlowe, as starred by Gerald Moore and heard on the CBS radio network.
Get this and get it straight. Crime is a sucker's road, and those who travel it wind up in the gutter, the prison, or the grave. The trail started in Montana with a bum with two names rushing away from his lady love, and led fast into L.A., past a southerner from Canada, a worried wool dealer, and a chorus girl with a .45. When it finally stopped at Murder in the Park, the tramp was still in a hurry.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. Now, with Gerald Moore, starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Bum's Rush.
You know, there comes a time in everyone's life when a relative wants a favor. But this was a particularly nice relative. In fact, a great old gal. She'd written my name and address in the center, and her name, Jessie Gavins, Eagles Rock, Montana, in the upper left corner of the envelope. The stamp totaled away a mail special, and the letter inside started off like one of those, I was wrong, you've got to find him for me, you've got to type. But it didn't wind up that way. Clipped to the letter was a $100 check, and under that, a not-too-good snapshot of a bald man holding a rake, who wouldn't have been helped any by better photography. 10 minutes later, at exactly 8 p.m., my long-distance call was put through, and the voice that belonged to Aunt Jessie was snapping at me from Eagles Rock, Montana, like the end of a whip.
Certainly I wrote it. How many Jessie Gavinses do you think there are in Eagles Rock? Philip, I want you to find Jonathan Miter and see if he's all right.
Yeah, you said that in your letter.
Jonathan Miter is my fiancé.
Aunt Jessie.
Oh, I know what you're thinking, young man, but I'm 51 and he's 55, and there's nothing wrong with the September song if the harmony's close enough.
Yeah, I hope my harmony's that good when I'm 55. Why are you worried, honey?
Because he left here last week on some kind of a big deal. It's a secret. That's all he told me, and I haven't heard a word from him since.
I see. Well, tell me, what sort of a deal would it be? I mean, what business?
He's not in any business.
Oh, what was his work before he retired?
Well, he's not exactly retired either.
He's not Look, Aunt Jessie, I'm getting at this. What does he do, or what did he used to do for a living?
Frank
Congratulations.
Yes.
Look, you didn't happen to give that fine, honest, proud man a wad of money to finance this big deal of his, did you?
Oh, no.
Well, then don't. Because I'll be frank. Sounds to me like a broken-down con man warming up a new routine.
Then I'll gladly pay to find that out, Philip. But I think you're wrong. Jonathan told me that he had to prove himself by making some money of his own before he'd marry me. As if I didn't have enough to take care of two people already.
Okay, Jesse, it's a little off-center, but I'll buy it.
Philip,
Huh?
when you find him, don't tell him that I hired you. As I say, he's very proud, and it'd hurt him. And now all I can give you to go on, aside from that snapshot I sent, is an address, 764 Hope Street in Los Angeles.
764 Hope Street. Well, how'd you get that?
From checking through every single thing of his I could lay my hands on. It was on the back of an envelope. Of course, it may not mean nothing.
You're so right, Jesse.
Please, now, don't joke with me, Philip. Jonathan was so serious and in such a hurry, and there was a funny, brave glint in his eye when he left. Do your best.
A brave glint. Oh, no. Okay, Jesse, no jokes. Goodbye, darling. I felt a little sorry for my Aunt Jessie Gavins because the concept of a knight of the road rushing off on a secret quest to prove himself worthy of marriage held up like a celluloid shovel. And I got no help when I pulled to a stop in front of 764 Hope Street. It was a cramped combination warehouse and office of corrugated iron and glass brick, respectively, with a shy red and black sign reading Hirsch Woolens over a door that looked like it handled about as much business recently as a repair shop for spinning wheels. It was half open, however, so I went in just in time to catch the last round of what must have been a healthy spat going on behind a frosted glass door marked private.
Well, I'll tell you something, Mr. Eldenhurst. Keep your eyes more on wool and less on nylon, and you'll be better off.
All right, all right. Heaven's sake, Martha, this is no time to quibble. We've got more important things to do. Unless, of course, you want to keep that chorus job at the Plume forever. Well?
Okay. You just watch your step. Goodbye, Eldon. Stand aside, stupid. This is a hallway, not an art gallery.
Yeah, there's a petty girl if ever I've seen one.
Well, what do you want?
Mr. Hirsch.
Yes?
Yeah, well, I'm Ned Johnson. I'm looking for a job.
What kind?
Oh, salesman. Wool's my line.
See. And how long have you been waiting out here?
Oh, I just stepped in.
Come inside.
Thanks.
Sit down. Now, what is your specialty? Woolens, worsteds, or felts?
Well, I've handled them all.
We confine ourselves largely to a very high-grade merino woolen, Mr.
Johnson, Ned Johnson. I've worked with merino.
Well, and what about the others? Lester, perhaps? Lincoln?
Oh, sure. Lester, Lincoln is certainly. I find it all a fascinating business.
So do I. A very romantic background.
Yeah.
By the way, what do you think of Lanatal as against merino?
Lanatal? Well, not good. No, you see, I've watched the Lanatal from the range right through shearing and on up to weaving. It just doesn't compare with... what's the matter?
What are you really after?
I slipped, huh?
You fell on your face. Lanatal is synthetic wool made from milk. Now, who are you?
Okay. I'm from the Sequoia Credit Association. We're investigating you. Just a periodic routine thing. It's strictly confidential.
Get out of here and stay out if I ever catch you.
All right, take it easy. I was clumsy, that's all. Don't start a riot about it.
Look, you pry into my affairs
Quite
again.
a temper you got there. Better watch it, Hirsch. It'll get you in trouble. So long. I hadn't exactly been wool gathering with Hirsch and Company, but I hadn't exactly made strides on the connection between a bum in a hurry and 764 Hope Street either. However, I couldn't help wondering what Hirsch had meant when I'd overheard him speak to the girl in the office about more important things to do. So when he slammed the door on my shoulder blades, I went around the alley for a peek in his warehouse. But I skipped that when a man stepped into view wearing the identical face I had in my pocket on a snapshot. It was Jonathan Miter. He'd swapped the rake for a silver-tipped cane and patches for 14-karat clads from spats to a Hamburg, which might well have covered a bald head. But it was the same man, no doubt about it. So I decided to play this one strictly 3 cushions with reverse English. Hey!
Huh?
Hey there, you!
Oh, were you addressing me, sir?
Yeah. Don't I know you? Oh, sure I do. Points east, huh?
You're mistaken, my man. I haven't been east in 30 years.
Oh, come on, friend. I'd know you anyway. You're good old Jonathan Miter.
Sir, I am Ross J. Crowley of Canada, and I have never had the dubious pleasure of your acquaintanceship until this very moment.
Ross J. Crowley of Canada, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay, Miter, that's the way you want it. What are you doing around the wool business? Setting it up for a fleecing or just pulling it over somebody's eyes?
My good man, you've obviously confused me with someone else. Now, pack off, like a nice fella. I'm in a hurry.
Now, wait a minute, Pop. Wait a minute. Let's get this straight first. Your name's not Crowley. Why are you using it?
My Godfrey, sir, you're trying my patience. Stand aside.
Come on, let's have it.
Oh, very well, if you insist. Here it is.
Hey, come back here, you old goat. Why don't you look out?
Why, you awkward roughneck. Why don't you look where you go?
I was, but I couldn't get around all three of you.
Three? What do you mean?
You and your 2 big feet. If you can't keep those gunboats out of people's way by yourself, hire a pilot. Hey, Oh, by now my boy's so far ahead I couldn't catch him if he stopped for lunch. Thanks to you. Goodbye. Went as far as the corner anyway, but I'd been right the first time. Jonathan Maida, alias Ross J. Crowley of Canada, was long gone, and I had no idea where. This left me with one slim, lovely lead, a lady named Marcia. If I'd eavesdropped correctly, she would shortly be making with the legs in the chorus of the Flume Theater restaurant. It was 7:30 when I entered the platinum-plated tourist trap on Hollywood Boulevard that featured small portions of bad food under glass and large helpings of good skin under lights. Cost me $10 and a fast ad-lib backstage, but it would have been worse out front, so when the chorus high-kicked its way out into the wings, I nailed Marcia as she went by. She narrowed a half a pound of mascara at me and let a footlight smile drop, which left very little else.
Yeah, my name's Marcia. What do you want? Make it snappy. I gotta change.
Change what? Your hairdo? This won't take a minute, baby. All I want to know is where Jonathan Maida can be found.
How should I know? I never heard of him.
You're stalling on your own time, baby. I got all night.
Nuts to you, Jack. Blow.
Come back here. This is important.
Now listen, you. I don't know anybody called Jonathan, what's his name? And put one more fingerprint on my arm and you'll get bounced out of here on your head.
You know, there's just a chance you could be on the level. Look, the guy wants about 55 and spats with a Hamburg over what is no doubt a bald dome. Carries a black cane with a silver tip and for some reason answers the name of Crowley.
Crowley?
Yeah, that's it. Ross J. Getting warmer, huh, kid? And don't bother telling me you never heard of him.
So I've heard of him. So what? He's a good pal of mine. Met him a couple of nights ago. He's quite a sport.
I'll bet he is. Where can I find him?
What do you want him for?
I want to talk to him, that's all. Where's he live?
Up a tree. Like I said, Buster, blow.
And like I said, baby, this is important. So important, I'll have a lopsided line in the next number if you don't talk, because you won't be there. You'll be on your way to the pokey. Now, where does he live?
I don't know. He's from Canada.
You can come closer than that, sweetheart. Give.
All right. He tells me he takes a walk in the park every night. He raves about the gladiolas.
Like they grow in Coldwater Canyon Park, maybe?
Maybe.
Thanks, you're a good kid. Keep your powder dry, baby. I'll see you. That park looked deserted when a half hour later I drove by it to the far end, turned down a side street and stopped. But as I started in on foot, I saw him, Spats, Hamburg, cane, and alias, ambling slowly away from me along a back path. I started after him quietly, and when he got near a corner, I was close enough to hail him, and then grab. But I didn't get the chance.
Stand still and keep your mouth shut.
I turned slowly. It was the gentleman with the big feet, and he wasn't much uglier, just a little flabbier than the automatic wrapped up in his fist.
You seem to be falling over my feet every time I turn around.
I noticed that. But I figured the first time was coincidence.
What do you figure now?
That our gay dog, Mr. Crowley, who just turned that corner there, is wagging 2 tails. But you hold the gavel, Chairman.
And don't you forget it either. So he gave you the name Crowley, did he?
Mm-hmm. Why, you think he's got another one?
Stop that. We both know he's lying. What I don't know is why he took that name or why you're interested.
It's a hobby. I collect old geezers with more than one name.
You're going to handle hard, huh? You won't tell me?
Well, I don't know your angle either. We might work out a trade, huh?
No. I'm not wasting any more time either. You're not going to get away from me again. And that means you'd better stay right here. Oh!
He piled me up on the ground with a stomach full of pain. I saw him run down the path. When I got back to my feet, he was taking the corner. And just started after him when it came. I froze and listened. There was nothing more to hear. I walked softly as far as the corner. He was face down on the toes of his oversized shoes, digging into the grass, and the gun he hadn't time to use spilled a few inches away from his clenched, dead hand. And across the park and rushing for Coldwater Canyon Road as fast as his feet could go was a bum with 2 names and a Hamburg hat. I took after the fleeing figure known to my Aunt Jessie as Jonathan Maida, or Ross J. Crowley, who was still barely visible ahead with arms and legs flailing the night air like so many test streamers in a wind tunnel. I didn't know any more about his double identity than I had before. But I did know that what might have started as only a confidence game of sorts had now mushroomed in a murder with the aforesaid gentleman very much involved. And a moment later, when I saw him breathless and afraid duck into a sagging, deserted wooden shack that showed a single red light and was labeled Department of Parks, Fire Equipment Private, I figured the right time and place had come to talk it all over. When I finally carefully stepped inside and announced both myself and 38 in hand in definite Centaurian tones, he agreed wholeheartedly.
All right. I'll come out just as you say, sir, with my hands up. After all, I've no reason to hide.
Other than murder, no.
What murder? That noise I heard, that's what it was. Somebody was shot.
No, somebody was run over by a bullet rolling downhill at a terrific rate of speed. Now shut up and turn around, Pop. Hands still high. Time we got cautious.
Are you searching for a gun on me, sir? Young man, you must be out of your mind. First you insist that I'm a Mr.
Miter.
Well, somebody I never heard of. And you're convinced that I'm a murderer. Well, I don't understand you. There. No gun? Now, you satisfied?
No, intrigued. Where'd you throw it?
I didn't. I never had one. Anything else?
Yeah, the name Crowley, Ross J. Why do you use it?
Because it's mine. And that young man is a very common custom. Now, do you mind if I leave?
I do. Now, look, old-timer. I'm only going to be nice about this for a little while because, first of all, there's a fresh corpse outside, and where I stand, you could be responsible for it.
And second of all?
Second of all, there's my angle, where I fit, who I work for, facts, and I don't want to reveal them unless I have to. Now, from the top. You and the dead guy, the connection, what is it?
I haven't the slightest idea what you're talking about.
You haven't, huh? Okay, Pop, we play it straight all the way. Now, listen. My name's Philip Marlowe. I'm a private detective, and I know when it's time to blow a whistle.
Don't move, Marlowe, or you never will again.
Oh, fine.
Marcia.
That's right, Marcia. And all loaded down with a nasty old .45 automatic that makes her look and feel very unladylike. Drop it, Marlowe. Come on. It's better. Now, Mr. Crowley, without waiting for Marlowe to apologize, go on.
Go, but where?
To the hotel. It's important, so hurry.
Oh, yes, very well. I won't waste a second. The key.
You won't need the key. Somebody's waiting for you. Goodbye, Mr. Crowley.
Goodbye. I hope I never meet you again, Mr. Maitland. Good night.
It's cute, isn't it?
Darling. The moment's unimportant. Right now, you're my only concern, Marlowe.
Oh, that's nice, Marcia. It's cozy, just the three of us. You and that giant U.S. pistol, caliber 45. Hey, baby, that's not your gun, is it?
No. You feel slighted?
Oh, no, sweet. Happy.
Stay back, Marlowe.
Why?
I'll shoot.
No, you won't. You can't.
I warn you, Marlowe.
No. You see, baby,
Take another step,
the three safety devices on that Army gun, that doohickey
Marlowe,
there on the side is one. It won't work unless it's in the forward position.
Don't big jerk. Let go of me.
When school's out, I will. Now, the first question, teacher.
Come on,
you and Grandpa, alias Jonathan Mott, also alias Ross J. Crowley. What's the game you two are playing?
I don't know.
Where does Hirsch fit in? Come on, it's getting late. The star pupil wants an answer. He's anxious to get to the head of the class. Talk. What is it?
I don't remember, and I won't, so don't bother getting masculine or polishing apples, pupil. When I forget for a long, long time. Is that clear?
Yeah, it is. And since I can't wait, since I want to go out and play, we'll put you in here. Keep it. Yeah. Hey, honey, you don't mind if I go through your bag, do you? I didn't think you would. Oh, here's a key that says in what room I'll find the team of Crowley and Miter. Oh, my, such a temper. After I'd picked up my .38, which the lady, who no longer sounded like one, had made me drop, and had checked the hotel key that read Villa 12, Wilshire Gardens, Beverly Hills, I ran outside and back toward my car in what I figured should be a big hurry. When I was halfway there, I had a premonition the speed was not to be. A premonition that was a head dressed in blue, carrying a club, wearing a badge, and leaning on my right front fender. And it wasn't until I was next to him that I quit worrying about a long, involved delay. Because the officer on hand, one Kurt Lemley, was an old and I hope still good friend.
Well, hiya, Phil. Been waiting here for you since I called in about that body up there. Some kid heard the shot.
Oh. So you had once pegged this all alone and very suspicious-looking car, huh?
Yeah, surprised it was yours and disappointed. I'd hoped the name of the owner's tag was going to be Raleigh Newcomb.
Hey, wait a minute. You know his name?
Don't you?
No. No, we were on different sides when he got shot.
No, he's from Canada.
What?
Yeah, Vancouver. He had a business up there with a guy named Ross J. Crowley.
Crowley?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Kurt, how'd you find all this out?
I found a clipping in his wallet. It's got a picture on it. Oh, wait, right here. Wait a second, I'll put a light on it.
Yeah, hurry up, will you?
I see. See, two guys in front of a building. Raleigh Newcomb and Ross J. Crowley officiated the opening of it.
Minute. Sure, it's what I figured. The guy's a liar. I've already met a guy who insists that's his name, and he's bald like the Crowley in the picture. Yeah, but there's the similarity ends, even though the picture's anything but clear.
The guy you're talking about, Phil?
Jonathan Miter, an old geezer I was hired to find.
Oh?
Bum was pulling something fancy that incidentally ties in real tight with that murder over there.
You know where he is, sir?
Sure, I know. That's where I was heading when I ran into you. Oh.
Ran into what? What is it?
The picture.
What?
Kurt.
Yeah?
Move your thumb up a little, will you? The way you just had it.
My thumb?
Yeah, move it. That's it, like that. Oh, brother, have I got a hunch.
How about what?
Another murder, a neat one that's scheduled to come off any minute at the Wilshire Gardens Hotel. I'll see you later. Goodbye. At best, it was 10 screeching stop-and-go minutes from Coldwater Canyon Park across Beverly Hills to the Wilshire Gardens Hotel on the boulevard of the same name. And all the way, I kept hoping, over time, that one of two things were so. Either my hunch was wrong and nobody else was going to get hurt for a while, or it was right and I was still on time. But when I was there, parked and running toward the Villa number 10, which was a silent stucco square, choking to death under ivy, and showing only a single light in the living room, I was almost sure that it was going to play still another way. Me right and too late to do any good. When I tried the door and found it open, and inside saw at once the letter propped up against the lamp on an end table that I'd been afraid I'd find, there was no longer any doubt. And even as I crossed the room, I knew that I was going to read a suicide note addressed to the police, telling them that the undersigned Ross J. Crowley had taken his own life, as well as that of the partner he'd been stealing from, Raleigh Newcomb, who had currently been pursuing him. But I didn't know until I reached for the letter to make sure that I'd figured right with the last line, just before the signature. It read, "Also, rather than face the humility of being dragged through the courts for killing Newcomb, they have taken the life of a man who would have caught me. A private detective named Philip Marlowe."
You did well, Marlowe.
What?
Especially when it's your own obituary. No, don't move.
Ah. Mr. Hirsch, huh? Or do I call you Crowley now?
Doesn't matter, Marlowe. Suit yourself. What does matter is that you're not quite the boy genius you think you are.
Meaning what?
Meaning Marcia. You talk to her at the Plumes, then she talked to me. Between the two of us, we've maneuvered you around just like we wanted to, so we could include you in our plans. In other words, Marlowe, when Marcia sent Mida here from the park, we knew you'd follow. Marcia's reliable.
Yeah, all year round, I'll bet. Okay, Crowley, so the one with two heads isn't Jonathan Mida, it's you. You is Eldon Hirsch here in L.A. Is Ross J. Crowley, Newcomb's partner up in Canada. A crooked partner, Crowley, who when he knew he was going to be caught decided to kill himself, but with another guy's body. Jonathan Mida, so it wouldn't hurt.
Exactly. Also, Marlowe, nobody will bother to look past what will pass as Crowley's body, or the murderer of Newcomb, who I didn't expect on the scene. I think you'll admit it's all accounted for in that letter there in Crowley's, my handwriting.
Bravo, you skipped nothing. Now, what about me?
Yes, you. You must go before Jonathan Mida, you know. Otherwise, the coroner might find something wrong with the sequence of death. So it's you first, then Mida.
So no doubt is unconscious in the bedroom right now?
Oh, Mr. Marlowe, who no doubt is standing right here listening carefully.
Mida, you crazy fool. Stay where you are.
No, Mr. Crowley, I won't. That way I die. This way, at least I have a chance.
My shoulder.
Mida, you all right?
Yeah, I think so. Just wing. Oh, you got him, didn't you, Mr. Marlowe?
Yeah, No. No, Jonathan, you got him. That rush did it, you big...
Bum, Mr. Marlowe?
Yeah, bum. It was 2 long hours of first aid for Jonathan. Arrest on the charge of murder for both Crowley and the accomplice before and after the fact, Martha. And questions and answers in triplicate for the police before Mida and I were finally alone and back in my office waiting for a call we put through to, of course, Eagles Rock, Montana. But even then, the gentleman vagabond couldn't quite get over things.
Then, in other words, Mr. Marlowe, this Crowley, who introduced himself to me as Hirsch, had his fiendish plan already formulated. And on one of his trips down from Canada, saw me when his train stopped at Eagles Rock. I was raking leaves around the depot. And he saw me, and he hired me on the spot because he needed someone to fit the part of his corpse.
That's it. And you'll admit you were well qualified for the job, alone in the world.
Except for Jet here.
Which you didn't happen to mention. And the fact that you were bald.
That's too true.
Don't be sensitive. You see, Crowley or Hirsch was also bald.
What? All that hair of his a wig?
That's right, toupee, every bit of it. And incidentally, you see, the reason I caught on to things, Johnny, a policeman found a newspaper picture of Newcomb and Crowley in Newcomb's wallet.
Which told you that I couldn't be Crowley.
That's right. It also told me more. When the policeman accidentally put his thumb over the bald part of Crowley's head, it gave me a different picture. Then I only paid attention to what I could see, features blurred though they were.
Which then you were Herschel.
Yeah, wait a minute.
I know.
Hello.
Mr. Philip Marlowe, please.
This is Marlowe speaking.
On your call to Miss Jessie Gabbins in Eagles Rock, Montana. 1 moment, please, sir.
Here, take it, Jonathan.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead, speak.
All right. Hello, Jessie. Jessica. Yeah, this is Johnny. Yeah, Cuddles? Yeah, it's me, all right. I'm in Los Angeles with Mr. Marlowe.
Cuddles, you don't have to shout so loud, you know.
She's clean up there, the Eagles.
I know, but she can hear you. Just talk.
Jessica, you guess what happened now? Now, I'll tell you. Yeah. A man hired me to work for him. To pose, impersonate a Mr. Ross J. Crowley, because he said he had to be free to investigate some crooked people who would try and contact me. Yeah. And since he offered good money right on the spot there, Jessica, I took the job. I thought you'd be proud of me making extra money. No, wait a minute, Jessica. Mr. Marlowe, I better cut this short, hadn't I? It's long distance. It's cost money.
Don't worry about it, Johnny. There's no hurry. Take your time.
Oh, Jessica. Now, what this man really wanted... You there, Jessica? Was to use me as a corpse. That's right, a body. Oh, heads, I feel fine. You see, he was going to put his rings on me, another identification, to knock me unconscious and get me to the river.
By the time I got Jonathan Mida down to Union Station and aboard a northbound train with specific instructions to stay away from strangers, and got back to my own apartment on Franklin, it was better than 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, and I was tired. I emptied out my pockets and started to undress. But I forgot about that when my eye fell on the picture that Jessie Gabbins had sent me in her original letter. The picture of Jonathan. Well, now Aunt Jessie was going to be happy. But I wondered for how long. Somehow the portrait of the man with a hole with the solid look of the ages didn't fit the spare frame of Jessie's night of the road. A lonesome train whistle would blow in the night, and Jonathan Mida would be gone.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe star Gerald Moore and are produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Script is by Mel Donnelly, Robert Mitchell, and Gene Levitt. Featured in the cast were Georgia Ellis, Hans Conrad, Ann Morrison, Herb Butterfield, Wilms Herbert, and Bill Boucher. The special music is composed and conducted by Richard Arrunt. Be sure and be with us again next week when Philip Marlowe says...
The lady tourist was a school teacher out after glamour, and she got it. But only after she learned that in Hollywood, the 3 R's could be reading, done in a dark room, writing found in a dead man's pocket, and arithmetic that added up to murder, times 2.
If you think you've got troubles, you should be married to Liz Cooper. She can scare up more trouble than a tropical hurricane, but it's always the kind of trouble you can laugh at because it's all part of My Favorite Husband, starring Lucille Ball. My Favorite Husband is part of CBS's great laugh lineup for Friday nights. You won't want to miss a single minute of My Favorite Husband. And you'll want to be around, too, to hear the Goldbergs, Leave It to Joan, and Breakfast with Burroughs. They'll all be broadcast on Friday nights over most of these CBS stations starting next Friday. This is Roy Rowan speaking. Now, stay tuned for Gangbusters, which follows immediately over most of these same stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
That's it for this week. I'm Dennis Daly. Thanks for listening. And join me for more, saluting the adventures of Philip Marlowe.